Welcome inside episode 661 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountain on a Sens game day. Ottawa continues their trip through Florida, taking on a Lightning team that's won 4 of their last 5 games.
And the Sens are trying to snap their losing streak. Can they get a win on the road for the first time this season? We've got our locked on players, our lookout players, and keys to victory for this game.
And a whole lot more. This is the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen on this Tuesday, November 1st. The show is free and available on all platforms, including on YouTube, where the best way you can help the show grow is to like every video by simply just clicking the thumbs up, commenting on each video, and subscribing to the Locked On Senators channel. Be a friend, tell a friend, let everyone know that we're your home for coverage on the Ottawa Belleville Sens and every Sens prospect 5 days a week from Monday through Friday. I want to start today's show with a quick birthday shout out for my mom, who has listened to every single episode of this show. And Pilsy, guess how she's celebrating her birthday?
There's only one way to celebrate your birthday, Ross, and that's by going to see the Ottawa Senators play some hockey.
She will be live and in person with my dad in Tampa. So if you see a pair of Sens fans, he's so mad at me because I made him get a Mark Stone jersey the year he got traded. Hates it. I said, you know what? That's the type of jersey you'll get respect wearing 10 years from now even.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely a good move. And shout out Patty. Happy birthday.
And it's a must-win game. They're going to see. We'll get into the deep details. But Pilsy, I also cringed when I said November because I don't want last November to repeat itself.
Oh no, we're getting those November vibes from last season. Only one win in an entire month. Those are tough times for us, Ross. We both had to kind of really push ourselves through that month. And I'm anticipating this month we get more than one win from the Ottawa Senators. Maybe a hot take, but I'm going there.
Spicy. 1-10-1 last November. 27 goals for, 53 against. They didn't just lose in November. They got absolutely pumped in November every single game. My goodness. Their penalty kill went 28 for 38. They gave up 10 power play goals. That was just all in all probably the worst month of Sens hockey I've ever seen.
It has to be. Yeah.
But we know that was it December? Yeah, it was early December. It was like right after that. It was December 11th where the Ottawa Senators shut out the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-0. And guess what?
Yep.
That was one of the rare times where an Ottawa Senators team beat a former goalie. Brian Elliott was in goal for that game. I'm scared to pull up the numbers, but I will anyways as I ask you the question. Are we summoning Andrei Vasilevskiy tonight? Or are we hoping that this trend stops?
You know what? I'm not going to go for the Vasilevskiy please. Like last year, we begged for Vasilevskiy, and then I think we got him, and things did not turn out well for the Sens. So I know I'm looking right at that 7-1-2 record for you guys listening. Brian Elliott has a 7-1-2 record up against the Ottawa Senators, but
0-1-0 in his last one.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to bank on that trend continuing. I would much rather have Brian Elliott, but I feel like that's a big wish to have. Maybe that'll be Patty's birthday wish, Ross, that we get Brian Elliott instead of Andrei Vasilevskiy.
The Tampa Bay Lightning are returning from a West Coast trip. They did the same trip that the Leafs did, but they won all 3 games rather than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No, I think they dropped one of them. I think the Kings beat them.
You're right. Thank you. But then they were able to bounce back. I think that might have been in overtime as well, if I'm not mistaken there. Either way, they're coming back feeling good. They had their Halloween party. we'll touch on our lookout player. We'll let you know maybe the best costume going. Sens abroad. Now,
Yep.
I just looked it up. In the game that we summoned Andrei Vasilevsky, the Sens lost 5-2. They scored twice in the first 4 minutes. We must have been feeling good. We asked for the best goalie in the league. We got him. We got him
Yes.
right where we want him. But there was a method to our madness when we had that. Andrei Vasilevsky's numbers going into that game were the worst against any team in the National Hockey League.
I do remember that. That's why we got our Voodoo and we wished upon it. And it seemed like a good idea at the time, but ultimately not good.
How'd you feel about the pushback that we got on YouTube yesterday? And we always appreciate the comments. We read them all. We can't get back to everyone as much as we used to be able to, but we do read them all. And I appreciate some people being like, you know what? You guys are too hard on DJ Smith. I didn't hear those complaints when they won 4 games in a row at home. And 3 of them, they only allowed 2 goals in each game, but the defensive structure has been an ongoing issue.
I don't think I've been hard on DJ Smith. If anything, I think I've maybe been a little too soft on him. So I don't know how I feel about those comments. But I mean, when you're looking at this team and you're 4-4, it's been the ultimate highs and the ultimate lows, right? Like they've been crushing it. That 4-game win streak at home was insane, and then all the games on the road have been. I was about to say a disaster. That is far too negative, but they've not been good. Let's just say that. So, and this is the thing. I'm willing to give DJ Smith a little more time here. It's going to take time to figure out how to use that D-core without Arden Zub here, how to get your lineups properly clicking without Josh Norris, because obviously losing a 35-plus goal scorer is never good, but the issue is how it trickles down the lineup, because now you've got Shane Pinto in an elevated role, which I think will be okay. But the issue there is Mark Kastelic. I love the guy, but he is not a third-line center. He's your perfect fourth-line center. And then having Dylan Gambrell come in, again, a guy that I like, but is he the answer to your problems? I don't think so. So that's where the real issue is. It's not losing Josh Norris, it's what that does to the rest of your lineup that now throws everything out of whack. Because they had it perfectly, like the top 2 lines were great top 2 chemistry lines. Your third line had some defensive prowess while also being able to score goals, and your fourth line was out there banging bodies, winning fights, and scoring the occasional goal even. So now things are all twisted up.
Winning fights. I thought you were going to go with the other F word there. Your face-offs with Mark Kastelic doing so well from the fourth line. But when you look at the Sens, they just got dominated in every sense of the word against Florida. Shocking that was a 5-3 game with an empty netter. Sens have to be near the top of the league, by the way, in empty net goals allowed. They allowed 1 against Florida, 1 against Minnesota, and 2 against Buffalo.
Well, Ross, did you read Ian Mendes' article?
No, what'd he say?
I think since last season, when the Sens pulled their goalie. Oh, trivia time, Ross. When the Sens pulled their goalie from this season and last, they had 19 attempts. How many goals did they score when they pulled their goalie?
2.
Damn close. 1.
1
for 19, Ross.
Number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, well, no, they're not number 1. They're like number 32, I think. Did you get Martian to say that?
No, I didn't. By the way, that's going to be a special game previews. We're going to put out YouTube Reels, just short, less than 1 minute. 3 things you need to know. So I got Martian to voice 1, 2, and 3. Just have some fun with that. But 1 out of 16, did you say?
19.
Wow. So what is it? We got to dive into that a little bit more in future shows. I'm going to go back and pull up some of these replays of the game.
Oh, wait. Before you move on, I think the stat is they've scored 1 goal and they've had 19 against, not 19 pulled goalie attempts and they've got 1 goal there. Yes, I think that's it. So just want to make that clear. That's arguably a worse stat.
Yeah, exactly. They're giving up a ton of goals when they pull the goalie, which, I mean, you should. That comes down to just being a better puck possession team, though. Like,
Well, and it's about winning those small puck battles. Like those, it's like all it takes is losing one puck battle in the ozone, and it's very easy for a team to just break out of their own blue line, and then just even from center ice, you can pot an empty net goal if you got the lane. So yeah, that's where it comes down to. You need that tenacity. You need that work ethic of, okay, it's me and him in up against the boards. Who's going to come out with that puck at the end of it? And you've got the extra man, so you need to have two guys, hopefully, going into those puck battles. You got an extra guy. So the Ottawa Senators, and I think it's been obvious that they've been working on that in practice, and DJ Smith is trying to get the 6-on-5 pop in here. I mean, I hope so at least. So hopefully we see a better trend with that, because you're not going to win games if every time you take a gamble, you lose. It's tough.
yeah, well, what's tough is watching this team struggle in the defensive zone. 98 shots against in the last 2 games. Now, to put that in perspective, in Tampa's last 3 games, again, on the road, and you're right, they lost in LA 4-2 and then got a 4-3 win in Anaheim, 4-2 win in Anaheim, 4-3 win in San Jose. They've given up 81 shots in their last 3 games versus 98 in the last 2. So Tampa's coming home, though. Is this a trap game for them? We'll talk about that and get into our Locked On Player Lookout player. But first, Pilsy, you've got a word from our friends at SimpliSafe.
Well, Ross, the Ottawa Senators have done a good job of protecting their home. When they're home at the CTC, they seem to do a good job keeping things safe. So, like them, you need to do the same with your home. And there's only one way to do it. You got to check out SimpliSafe. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. They protect you with cutting-edge security technology, powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back. With those agents, SimpliSafe will call you the moment a threat is detected and dispatch police or first responders in an emergency. Even if you're not home or can't be reached, you know you're covered. They blanket your home in protection with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door. HD security cameras for inside and outside your home. There's smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when a threat is real. So if a squirrel's running across your yard or something, it's not going to have all the hazard panic alarms going off. They can even detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. The monitoring experts use proprietary advanced response technology to visually confirm when a break-in is real, so you get the highest priority police dispatch when you need it most. Customize the perfect system for your home. Just a few minutes, guys, at simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl to learn more. Guys, there's no safe like SimpliSafe.
And there's no palace like Shawarma Palace. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Shawarma Palace. It's Ottawa's #1 spot when you need a satisfying meal that's not going to break the bank. Our friends at Shawarma Palace have 9 different locations, and I've been to all 9 of them. 8. I haven't been to the one in Carlton. I believe you have to have post-secondary to get in there. I say tongue-in-cheek, but you can't never be too far away from a Shawarma Palace. Shawarma Palace right here in Ottawa is our sponsor. If you haven't been there, we'll crawl out from under that rock and get there right now. Game days taste better with Shawarma Palace. That's why we make sure that we talk about Shawarma Palace on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because you know that the stress can get to you, those butterflies in your stomach. Well, make sure that they're soaking away in some garlic sauce, extra garlic sauce. I always get the chicken shawarma platter, my go-to. Pilsy loves the wrap because if you haven't seen Pilsy eat, it would take him about 16 months to finish a shawarma platter Palace, because they don't sacrifice quantity for quality. The quality is AAA, top notch. However, the portions are enough for you and your whole family. Some people laugh at me. They say, you can't finish a platter in one go. And to that, I say, prove it. I want to see that. Maybe we'll get a competition going with our friends over at Shawarma Palace. A little eating competition. See who can actually crush a platter in one go, because it's so fresh. It's so good. But my favorite, you eat like 3/4 of it and then put it in the fridge, and it's still so fresh, so good right out of the fridge. So go check them out today. Shawarma Palace, Sens game days taste better at Shawarma Palace. It's a must-win game day for the Ottawa
All right.
Senators. You like this?
I'm grooving. It was a little funky to start, but I like it, Ross. I like it.
All right. Shout out royalty-free music, mp3s.com.
Nice.
You're listening to Locked On Senators on a game day. The Sens are hoping to snap a 2-game skid down on the west coast of Florida. They'll be at Amalie Arena tonight. It's a 7 o'clock puck drop. You know you can check the YouTube channel 1 hour before the game for a quick synopsis of what's going down tonight. We'll have the postcast after the game. Myself, Brandon Piller, and at Laleem's Martian. And that's why don't just subscribe to Locked On Senators. Make sure you hit the bell so you'll know when we go live. Pillsy, you told me you're not feeling necessarily confident in the boys tonight.
Yeah, I know it's a must win for you and a can't lose for me, Ross, but I've been heading to betonline.ag and I've been feeling confident in the Sens and putting some extra live bets in. I'm taking a step back responsibly from the Ottawa Senators tonight. I just feel like although stakes are high and you don't want to go down 3, this is like the Tampa Bay Lightning have been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals in a row, and your Ottawa Senators have not.
They've been to 3 straight draft lotteries.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I don't know. I don't like the matchup here. I would love to come in hot, positive Pillsy, but I'm not feeling it, Ross. I'm not feeling it, and I'm not gonna fall into that trap of being like, ooh, there's some momentum here. I'm tossing a couple shekels in live. No, I'm stepping back tonight.
You're staying away from it, so you don't even want me to tease you with the line tonight?
Hit me with the line. Just give me a taste, but I'm only nibbling.
Plus 172 for your Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm staying off it.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you my locked on player. There's one Senator who has had a lot of success against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but let's start with those Tampa Bay Lightning. And how about Nick Paul? Did you see him going as gold member for Halloween?
I love gold.
That's easily the best one I've seen. He even rocked the 4-wheel roller skates
Yeah.
at the party. That's all time.
Yeah, that's classic. And I feel like hockey players should really try to incorporate rollerblading costumes in. Like that, you show off some skills there. It fits right in.
So what other rollerblade costume?
Oh, come on, Ross. You know the classics. You could be a like 1950s burger delivery person with the hat, the striped costume, and a tray.
That works. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm looking at it, and then there's like roller derby players you could be.
Yep.
Yeah, not a whole lot else.
Yeah, that's about it.
Incredible Halloween costumes with roller skates. All right, I think I just heard collectively the noise of 85% of our audience leaving the show. But no, when you look at it with the Tampa Bay Lightning, this team, they started off a little slow. And if there's going to be a team that would, you kind of have to assume it's one that's played that much hockey over the past little while. They had 1 win in their first 4 games, and that win was against the worst team in the Eastern Conference, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They beat them 5-2. Their losses to Philly, to Pittsburgh, the Rangers won on opening night. Yeah, they got outplayed, outshot 39-26, but that one came down to a 2-goal game as well. They've beaten the Florida Panthers in overtime. They've beaten the Islanders. They've beaten the Ducks. They've beaten the Sharks, and their other loss came against the LA Kings. So it's the 10th game of the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And get this, though. Out of their next 11 games, they only play 2 on the road. They're in Washington and in Nashville separately. So they've got a 4-game homestand here. They go out for 1. They come back for 3. They go out for 1. They come back for 2. This feels like a bit of a trap game for them because they've got Carolina in town on Thursday. That's going to be a tough matchup, bit of a rivalry there in the South. I think the Sens might be able to sneak in under the radar. We just talked about it too. Sens look pretty sloppy after their Halloween party. We know Tampa had theirs 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I mean, these are good points, Ross. And I hope the angles you're taking are legit and they end up playing a factor. But I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about this. And maybe as I'm saying, I got a bad feeling and I'm not betting on this, Ross. Maybe people are rushing to betonline.ag and emptying their accounts because everyone knows what a mush I typically am when it comes to sports gambling. So take that for what you will. But in my gut, maybe it's all the Reese's Pieces I ate last night, but not feeling good about this one.
The Tampa Bay Lightning are led by Nikita Kucherov with 12 points in 9 games. Steven Stamkos has 7 goals in 9 games, 2 assists as well. And Braden Point and Victor Hedman have 8 each. Who's your lookout player for tonight's game?
Ooh, I'm glad I got to go first on this one, Ross. I'm looking out for gold member Nick Paul. We've seen Nick Paul in a second line center role before, Ross. Didn't exactly go the way everyone probably wanted it to go, but he's got a new deal. He's getting a lot more vitamin D down in Tampa than he was in Ottawa. I feel like he really fits in well there, and this was a mutually beneficial hockey trade. Nick Paul for Matthew Joseph and a 4th-round pick. So I'm going to be looking out for Nick Paul because he was an absolute legend in the playoffs for them, and I miss Nick Paul. Like that was a good Ottawa Senator story. Like the whole story of Nick Paul was really great. And I'm happy he got his bag, massive 7-year deal. So I'm going to be looking out for Nick Paul.
What do you mean he was a legend for them in the playoffs, dude? He was a legend for us with 2 goals against the Leafs in Game 7.
Yeah, he was a legend for the hockey community collectively. Yes, that's a good point.
And egg on my face when he got traded or when that whole conversation was going on about whether or not he was going to re-sign in Ottawa. Our whole thing was, hey, the grass isn't always greener. Like, will he get those opportunities elsewhere? He's averaging more minutes this year than he did in Ottawa any season.
That's crazy. Oh, my God.
With Tampa, he's averaging 18-22. John Cooper uses him in all situations. And as we know, Nick Paul does it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's my guy.
5 points in his last 4 games. Now he also has 5 points in 9 games on the season, but 2 multi-point games in his last 4, goal and an assist against the Islanders and against the Anaheim Ducks. I like that call, Pilsy. I really do, but I'm going to go in a different direction. And maybe it's boring, but how can you not be locked on to Steven Stamkos? There was a time where I thought it might be the beginning of the end for Steven Stamkos. The points were always there, but the injuries, it just felt like we're going to catch up on him eventually. That's not the case. Last season, at 31 years old, he had his highest offensive output in his career. Not goals. He had 60 way back when he was 21, but 106 points. It's really fun for me watching players that come into the league as one type of guy and then round out their game, find different ways to find success. He was just a pure sniper. People thought he was going to challenge for Ovechkin for a while. In his first 4 years, he had 179 goals. But now he's more of a disher. He's playing the wing instead of center a lot, and he's just redefined his game, and he's always dangerous on the power play. We know that. Finished 11th in Hart voting last year. So this is a guy who's redefined. He's got 7 goals, like I said, already on the season. 5 of them have come on the power play. So if you're the Sens, you have to be aware of that. And he's used more than he ever has, averaging almost 21 minutes a game, Pilsy. So I'm going to be looking out for Steven Stamkos tonight.
Nice. Should we pull up the Tampa Bay lines, see where these Lightning players line up? Ironically, Ross, both our guys are on the same line here.
Yes, they are. As we run through it, the top line is Braden Point in between Brandon Hagel and Nikita Kucherov. The second line, Nick Paul in between Alex Killorn and Steven Stamkos. Sends abroad, Vladislav Nemestikov centering the third line with Ross Colton and Cole Koepka. And the fourth line, just some veteran leadership right here. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Pat Maroon, and Scory Perry On defense, Victor Hedman with Eric Chernak, Mikhail Sergachev with Nick Perbix, I believe is how you pronounce that one, a player who I wasn't familiar with. Turns out he's a U.S. Olympian last year. And then Ian Cole with Cal Foote. We're still waiting to hear as we're recording here at about 9:30 a.m. whether it will be Andrei Vasilevsky or Brian Elliott. But I can tell you that Nikita Kucherov is their leading scorer and that they are 5-4 on the year. Sick call by me not updating the last 10. All right. But it's neither here nor
Not a math guy, but those numbers do not add up to 10 either.
Not a math guy either. All right, so we got our lookout player. That's how they line up. And now we will turn our attention to the Ottawa Senators. After a quick break, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day. I think we got to get a tune of the day.
Tune of the day? Yeah. I thought you were going to hit me with a different one for this segment, but we're...
Is that what we should do? We should find one for each?
Yeah. We need two. We need two. But I like the vibe. You got the vibe right.
All right. We can sit down and go through it.
Yeah.
Sens game day. What I'm calling a must win for the Ottawa Senators going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to take my locked on player first, but before we do that, Pilsy, why don't you run through the lineup? The lineup.
We're going top line. Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson, Alex DeBrincat, Shane Pinto, Claude Giroux, my guy, Tyler Mott, with Casty and returning Tampa Bay Lightning, Matthew Joseph. Is this his first game up against the Lightning? Can we get our stats team on that, Ross?
Certainly his first game in Tampa.
Okay.
I believe it is, as I click one more button. Never played the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a little foreshadowing. Parker Kelly with Dylan Gambrell playing his first game of the season with Austin Watson. Then on defense, we have Thomas Chabot with Nick Holden, Jake Sanderson with Travis Hamonic, Eric Brandstrom with Nikita Zaitsev, and we anticipate Anton Forsberg will be the starter.
Yeah, I'm happy anticipating that one, Pills. Yeah, I'm not sure.
What's wrong with Magnus Hellberg? You got something against a .935 save percentage and winning one game out of one? He's only won every single NHL game he's ever started. You got a problem with that, Ross?
No, I don't. And you know what? I would actually like to see him back in the lineup in the next couple of games. Ottawa comes home after this one, and their schedule is pretty interesting because Vegas is on fire, and we'll get into that tomorrow and on Thursday's show. Then they've got Philly and Vancouver, and I know there's 2 days in between, but I probably get Hellberg in against Philly or Vancouver unless Pilsy Cam Talbot might be ready to go. He's been practicing.
I still get Hellberg in one more game.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, give him one more look. He's deserved it. And yeah, Forsberg needs the break. I mean, this guy he's working hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just hoping that Artem Zub gets back in the lineup. This decor is leaving a little bit to be desired. The extras look like it's going to be Derek Brassard and Dylan Hetherington for the 9th game of the season. Already nearing that 10-game mark. And my locked-on player tonight is the player who had a hat trick against the Tampa Bay Lightning last year in the first win he had as captain of this team. It's Brady Tkachuk. This guy is he's a horse out there. He looked good against Florida, one of the few players I thought that actually had a pretty good game. And you know what? I got the crack stat team on this one, Pilsy. A little advanced stat for you.
Oh.
The save percentage for Ottawa Senators goalies when Brady Tkachuk is on the ice at 5-on-5 is .827.
Bad.
Worst on the team. So
wow.
I'm curious to see if that doesn't regress to the mean a little bit here. Because that's tough.
Yeah, you would hope so. And especially with Brady Tkachuk being a guy that eats a lot of minutes, you don't want those minutes to have that bad of goaltending attached to them. Sheesh.
No, you really don't. So hopefully that gets figured out, because I'm not saying that line's been good defensively. Frankly, they haven't with Stützle and Batherson either, but all of their defensive metrics aren't great. But when you're looking at it from a standpoint of sometimes it's like oil and fire, right? Like one's bad enough, and then you mix them both together, and it's not great. Yeah, an 821 save percentage when he's on the ice, 836 when Batherson's on the ice, and an 844 when Tim Stützle is on the ice. The next worst is 890 with Brandstrom. So like that's a pretty wide gap between that line and the next. And then if you flip it, Billsy, get this: when Mathieu Joseph's on the ice, Sens goalies have a 979 save percentage.
Wow.
Stop at 98 out of every 100 shots.
Well, Ross, that transitions perfectly to my locked on player. It's going to be Mathieu Joseph. I mean, yeah, those are great numbers, and that's what I was talking about. That third line, it seems like they're able to defend well and put some offense on the board now. When you lose Shane Pinto, a guy with 6 goals already, that's probably going to dry up the offense a little bit, especially when you look at the fact that Joseph still looking for his first goal of the season, Ross. And Pinto and Tyler Mott have enjoyed racking up the stats here, but Mathieu Joseph, not so much. So I'm going to be locked on to Joseph, seeing if there's any tricks he's got up his sleeve. It's trick or treat time. Does he have any tricks up against his old teammates so that he can cash in a couple treats? I sure hope so. So Mathieu Joseph, my locked on player.
Well, how about the treat that he has in terms of memories? The last time he had not the last time he's in the building, but getting to raise the cup at Emily Arena. So hopefully he gets some great memories back and can really kind of offensively start driving himself. The last few games too, I haven't loved his overall game. I did like how he established himself physically the other night. I think it was against Minnesota where he absolutely destroyed one of the Wild players just by the
Zuccarello.
bench. Yes, it was. So I like that from Mathieu Joseph. I want to see a little more snarl out of his game. We know he brings the speed aspect and can kill penalties, but I think he needs to take a step in the right direction here going into tonight's game. An easy locked on player when he makes his return to Tampa. He'll get a video tribute, won't he? Maybe a quick one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Quick one though, right?
Yeah.
How many games do you think he played for the Lightning? I feel like he was a healthy scratch more often than not early in his career. Okay, he actually played a few. He played a bit.
200?
221.
Yeah, okay, cool.
70 points. He'll get a video tribute, especially I feel like when you win a cup, you automatically get one.
Yeah, fair. Yep.
So what's your key to victory tonight? I know you're not super confident, but if the Sens can come away, what will be the reason why?
My key to victory is don't allow Tampa to kind of lull you into playing the game that they want. Now, what I mean by that is I feel like this is a veteran team that they're top-heavy guys. They're going to have you playing the style they want, and then that fourth line that's a heavy veteran fourth line that knows how to grind down the opposition. So don't fall into the trap of trying to force passes. Like that's one thing I noticed, Ross, is the Sens up against the Panthers, they were really trying to force a lot of passes. Like the Sens need to play a simple, hard-nosed game. They need to play with pace the way DJ Smith has them. Don't try to outskill the Tampa Bay Lightning because it's not even close when you look at the likes of Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman. Like you don't have those guys to go head to head and try to outskill them. So just play a nice, clean, simple game. And I think if the Sens are going to win this one, it's going to be a close one. Like if the Sens are going to win, it's going to be like a 2-1 win or something like that. Whereas if the Lightning win, I think they're going to blow the doors off.
Where Forsberg's making 68 saves next time.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So that's my key to victory is play Ottawa Senators type hockey. Don't try to play Tampa Bay Lightning hockey because it's not going to work.
What is Ottawa Senators hockey?
It's playing the way DJ Smith has this team set up, playing with pace, playing with, this is the issue when you've got a weaker D-core, but having the D move the puck up the ice, that whole left side is built with puck movers. Thomas Chabot, Jake Sanderson, Brandy moves pucks. Those guys need to be transitioning the puck out of the zone and simple, nice, quick passes, not trying to stretch two lines, not trying to go like a full diagonal pass across the ice through two to Lightning players. Like, that's where I found myself getting frustrated, is the passing was forced. It was trying to do too much. You need to rely on your speed and pace to move that puck up and down the ice here. So that's the key to victory here, is play your brand.
Since Steven Stamkos made his NHL debut, the Tampa Bay Lightning have the third best power play in the National Hockey League overall. However, this year, they're middle of the pack. They're 13th right now with a 23.5% conversion rate with the man advantage. That makes me very nervous, and that means for me an emphasis has to be on penalty killing. Ottawa's allowed a power play goal in each of the last 2 games. They've lost each of the last 2 games. So I would like to see them really kind of make it an emphasis. They've actually, out of their 8 games, Pilsy, they've allowed a power play goal in 6 of them, and 2 against Washington. Yep. So that's 8 power play goals against in 8 games. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be better. I mean, their power play, I think, has been decent. It's clicking at I believe it's like 25% rate. So it hasn't been bad, but I feel like it hasn't been opportune. Like, they haven't got those power play goals in those big momentum swing power play opportunities.
Yeah, Sens have scored a power play goal in each of the last 5 games, with 2 coming against Washington as well. So that's pretty impressive as well. So I'm not worried about their power play. I know they have talent on the power play. But are you going to win the special teams battle? Because, like I said, they've scored a power play goal in that many games. Well, look, against Washington, it wasn't an advantage. They score 2, they allow 2. Against Arizona, they score 1, they allow 1. Against Dallas, they score 1, they allow 0. They win by 2 with an empty netter. Or so, not an empty netter, sorry. Was it in that game? No.
I don't remember if it was an empty netter or not.
I remember it was 4-1, and then Wyatt Johnson made it 4-2.
Correct.
In that game. So that's the one game where they win the special teams battle. They win the game.
Yep.
Minnesota 1-1. Florida
there you go.
1-1. So let's see them win the special teams battle. That'll be kind of my all-encompassing key to victory. Win the special teams battle. You probably win the game. You know what? I'll go so far as saying don't get outshot by 32 as well.
Good call, Ross. Good call.
That's my hot take. But I said it's a must-win, and the Ottawa Senators are 2-0 in must-win games for me this year. The home opener, after losing 2 on the road, you come home, you win the home opener, must-win game. And then against Arizona, must-win game. So here we are. And it's a can't for you, but you think they're going to lose.
I never said I think they're going to lose. I just said I don't feel good about it. That's all.
All right. Well, hopefully we're feeling good in the postcast. We'd love for you to join us there after tonight's game. We've got Martian coming in. We're going to come in hot too. Hopefully like the Florida Heat after this one, when the Senators get a 3-1 win is what I'm calling. And again, not super confident, but I'm going to act it until it happens. Fake it till you make it. And that's what we're hoping the Ottawa Senators can accomplish. Speaking of faking it till you make it, we want to say a big thank you to everyone as well. I feel like we're doing this pretty often, but this is wild. We had more downloads this month than we had in the entire first year that we did this. And we thought we popped off in that year. We had Tim Stutzel on the show that first year. And we had more this month than we did that whole year. Crazy. So it's a credit to people for being so passionate about the Ottawa Senators. And we're just hoping to make it a little bit better to be an Ottawa Senators fan, whether that's with interviews, stats analysis, or even just a good laugh each and every day here on the pod. Congrats, Pilsy. That's big.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone that's followed the show. We love you guys. You guys keep us going. And hey, we're not stopping here.
Rest is a weapon. If I hear that one more time, I'll go crazy.
No rest on this show. 5 days a week, plus the postcast and everything else we got going on. Thank you so much for making us your first listen each and every day. We'll see you in the postcast. Make sure you hit the bell so you know when we go live, when you subscribe on YouTube. But for Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.